What is good? This is the Nuchannel Sports Takedown. You know what this is. This is a solo. Back at it again with your host, Chris. So happy to be here. Let's get straight into this takedown. I'm in my feelings a little bit, and I just got to get this out. James Harden is underrated. I said it. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it with my chest this time. James Harden is underrated. From what I've heard this week, he's an MVP candidate. Oh, wow, he can pass the basketball. He doesn't just dribble. He even plays defense. Oh, my goodness. So you didn't know this? You haven't been watching the Houston Rockets? You haven't been watching the Houston Rockets. That's what it is. East Coast bias is real. All my listeners in the East Coast, hit me up on the comments. East Coast bias is real. It is. We didn't know he could play like this. Oh, my goodness. It's so annoying. James Harden is underrated. And I'm going to give you 5 reasons why he's being overlooked. 5 reasons for his entire career that he has been overlooked. You may say, Chris, he's an MVP. People perennially call him a really good basketball player. He's going into the Hall of Fame, so that could all very well be true. And you can still be underrated. You can still be underrated. Take Nuchannel Sports, for example. I'm going to plug us for a second. We give y'all good content. We give y'all real good content. We're not where we want to be, but we're still good. We're underrated. We're underrated. And damn it, help us not be underrated. Subscribe. Smash that like button. Smash that notification bell. Let's get that YouTube algorithm going and get our videos out there because I know you love the content. We just need other people to listen to it as well. Help us out. Subscribe. We also have a podcast. You can check that out. Anywhere and everywhere you listen to your podcast, we are there. You can check out our website, nuchannelsports.net, not .com, .net. Let's get into this video. Let's get into this because James Harden's underrated and I'm tired of it. So this is 5 reasons why he's being overlooked. Really why he's been overlooked his entire career. Number 5, 6th man. He went from being the 6th man of the year in Oklahoma City to being an MVP of the NBA. Nobody talks about that enough. It's just people say, yeah, he was the 6th man of the year and he's MVP. No, think about that. Think about what that means. That means he was coming off the bench. Yes, I know the Oklahoma City Thunder were loaded. They were loaded and they got no championships, by the way. There's going to be a takedown. Mark my word. I'm going to do a takedown soon enough of organizations that royally screwed up things. And Oklahoma City, y'all going to be right on the top of the list. So watch out for that takedown. But he was coming off the bench. And won 6th man of the year. And he was okay with that to winning an MVP. That tells you that guy has his mental adjustment to be able to play off the bench and then to become an MVP in the NBA. There's something about that guy. We don't give him enough credit for that. That alone is enough to say he's underrated. From going from being a 6th man to being an MVP. That's ridiculous. I can see somebody being a 6th man in college, right? And then coming out and being great in the NBA. You think of players like a Richard Jefferson when he was in Arizona. You know, players that he didn't play that much because the team was loaded, but you knew he had the talent. You knew he could be great. But this ain't like it was college that he was coming off as 6th man of the year. He was in the NBA. And by the way, he was on the team that went to the NBA Finals, and he was a 6th man. Come on now. To go into winning the MVP award. This bit here is for my Rockets fans and for anybody who followed the James Harden trade. In the 2012 season, right before the season started, the Oklahoma City Thunder inexplicably, when you hear Zarg use a language like that, you know it's serious. Inexplicably, they traded James Harden to the Houston Rockets. And to you Rockets fans or lovers of the NBA, in your wildest dreams, did you ever think he would be as good as he was in a Rocket uniform? Nah, seriously. In your wildest dreams, Did you ever think he'd be as good as he was in a Rocket uniform? To answer the question, the answer is no, you didn't. And if you say you did, ooh, I know you lying. Hey, I know you lying. If you notice my takedowns, I got to sing it at some point. It just comes out. I don't plan it. It just happens. But if you thought when he was traded to the Houston Rockets that he was going to be an MVP, A, you should put some money on it. I bet you didn't. And two, you're lying. You're lying because you didn't have that thought. You maybe thought, oh, interesting trade. He might be worth the risk. But never from going to being a six-man to an MVP. You didn't see that coming. And it was painfully obvious in his first two games. At least it must have been painful for the Oklahoma City Thunder fans. For the Rockets fans, it was great. It was bliss. Against the Pistons and the Hawks, he went buck in his first two games as a Houston Rocket. And everybody looked around like, yo, this brother can hoop. He can hoop. He can hoop. I remember after the second game, the Rockets were playing in their third game, and everybody in the city of Houston was trying to get to that game. Everybody was like, man, we got to go see this brother hoop, because we knew he had a stud. In the year before he was traded to the Houston Rockets, he was averaging 28 minutes a game and 13.5 points per game. In his first season as a Houston Rocket, he went from averaging 28 minutes a game to 38 minutes a game. Okay, big change in minutes. 10 more minutes a game. You could probably, add about 5 more points to his points per game total. Nah, bruh. Nah, player. He went from averaging 13.5 points a game to 25.9 points a game. A game. I may sound like I'm excited right now, but just think about that. When he was traded to the Houston Rockets, you know who the main guy was? See, this is where the East Coast bias is. If you live in the East Coast, you're like, oh, I don't know. Tell me. Sorry. If you live in the East Coast, I know you don't sound like that. I don't know. Tell me. But it was Jeremy Lin. And no offense to Jeremy Lin, he was going to be the number one option for the Rockets, and it would have been a horrible year. We signed him, the Houston Rockets, him being Jeremy Lin, on a poison contract. We also signed a player in Omar Asik to a poison contract, basically backloading the deal. He was a restricted free agent and essentially making it very, very tough for the New York Knicks to match the deal, which they didn't. That's why it's called a poison pill. And Jeremy Lin was like maybe a couple of days before the season started, because James Harden was traded really close to the season starting. I'm talking about less than a week, barely a week. Jeremy Lin was going to be the guy, and then James Harden came and saved the day. Thank God. Thank God James Harden came, and he changed the outlook of the Rockets. He changed the outlook of the Rockets from the very moment he stepped in Toyota Center. He changed everything. If you're butthurt Rockets fan that left, I'm sorry. You should be over it by now. And you should look at the misery that the Rockets have. They're on a losing streak that is ridiculous right now. You should go back and look at James Harden and be like, I appreciate that guy a little bit. I appreciate him a little bit. He was phenomenal. Number 4 reason why he often gets overlooked, but he shouldn't. He shouldn't. He is a move creator. James Harden is a move creator. I understand he didn't create the Euro step. He did not. And it was really Manu Ginobili that made the Euro step popular in the NBA. But what James Harden did is he changed the Euro step. See, Manu Ginobili would only really use it on fast breaks or if he beat his man. James Harden used the Euro step anywhere and everywhere because he had the range. Some kids were doing the Euro step before James Harden. Every kid growing up was doing the Euro step after James Harden played. Everybody. Because it's a necessary move. Because he showed us how necessary it is. A move creator. What about when he puts the ball really low and he forces you to foul him? All of you East Coast fans saying, that guy sucks. All he does is shoot free throws. I'm sorry, East Coast. I'm in my mood right now. I'm in my feelings. Because he's in Brooklyn and some of the things y'all saying is crazy. He's an MVP candidate now. You think? When he put that ball below so low, it's so enticing. It's like seeing it's like seeing ice cream. I almost talked about a female. I'm not going to do that. I know better than that. But it's like seeing ice cream If you're hungry, if you're the bigger persuasion, right? I love ice cream. Okay, I got me a little belly. All right, I like ice cream. What am I gonna do about that? And if I see some good, cookies and cream, I want to go grab it. But sometimes you shouldn't grab it. Sometimes you shouldn't touch it. And that's what James Harden has done with the basketball. He makes it so enticing. I can steal it. I can get that basketball. And then you try to get it, you realize, nope, I didn't get it. I got his arm. It's a foul. And he just keeps going to the line. It's not his fault people foul him. It's not his fault. You may say it looks ugly. You don't like it, but it's effective. It's very effective. Another move it's hard to say he created it, but he certainly made it really, really, really good. Really good. Was the swim move he would use to draw the 3-pointers. I know Kobe did it. I know Kevin Durant did it, but they banned it from the NBA when James Harden did it. And the reason why is Kobe would get a couple 2-point baskets with it. Same thing with Kevin Durant. But what James Harden did was incredible. He'd come off a pick and roll. He'd grab the player coming off the pick and roll, trying to go through the pick, right? Trying to go through the pick or around the pick. And he basically play a game of pulling up the lasso the player and get a 3-pointer up in the air and a foul. Just changing the game. Actually, stop that. Now that move is no longer an and one shot. It's just a call on the floor. And that's because of James Harden. That's because of James Harden. That's all because of James Harden. Another move he had is that side 3-point. People are saying, is that a travel? I don't know. I think it's a travel. Go watch NBA now. Everybody does the side 3-point dribble now. Everybody. Everybody has that move. You got it from James Harden. You got it from James Harden. Number three part of James Harden's game that's often overlooked. He's the best offensive player in this generation, and it's not even close. You have a guy like a Steph Curry who's amazing to watch. Box office. You have a guy like LeBron James, brute force, tough, strong. Kevin Durant, just a bucket getter. But James Harden's offensive game is damn near impenetrable. You may say, well, wait till the playoffs. That's fine. We'll get to that in a second. That's fine. But he's amazing. He can shoot the 3. He can shoot the 2. He can do it all. For the volume of free throws that he shoots, his percentage has always been very high. Just an offensive freak. An absolute offensive freak. For the Rocket fans, we understand this. There were times where it seemed like he was scoring 40 every night, and it's easy. It's so easy. And now the Nets fans are being treated to this. You look up and he'll have 20 points. You think, how did he get 20 points? When did that happen? I watched this entire game. When did it happen? I know you love Curry, but when Curry has 40 or 60 points, you can see it coming. It's like, oh man, he's hot tonight, right? He is hot. He's hitting these threes. He's shooting it from everywhere. This is not a Curry versus Harden debate. I'm just talking about their offensive games. When Curry has 60, you feel it. I'm like, man, he scored 60. When Harden scored 60, it's like, oh, when did that happen? How did I miss it? He scored 60? How? It's just easy for him. It's just so easy. And the problem is, we've taken the ease of him doing it, and we've just taken it for granted. We've taken it for granted. Sometimes when people make things look so easy, you take it for granted. Think about Chris Paul. It's not really tangible, right? He's a great leader, but in many ways it's not tangible. It's like you can't explain it, you just see it. What has he done with the Phoenix Suns this season? What has he done? They went from not being in the playoffs to being a high seed. It's just one of those things you can't really explain it, but he has it. And that's what James Harden is with the offense. You really can't even explain it. He's a great offensive player, but until you really watch him, you can't appreciate it because it comes so quickly and so easy for him. You take it for granted. And unfortunately, too many people have taken his game. They have taken James Harden's game for granted, and they've made him underrated. Number 2. He is a great passer of the basketball. James Harden is a phenomenal basketball player. The problem is, people have fooled you for years saying, dribble, dribble, dribble. Dribble, dribble, dribble. That's all people know. Well, all he does is he dribbles. Well, now he's in Brooklyn. And some of you East Coast people are telling me, wow, the cross-court passing is amazing. Chris, The cross-court passing is amazing. I'm on it today. I'm sorry. It's just so frustrating. Did you know that in 2016, James Harden led the NBA in assists with 11.2 assists a game? Did you know that since 2014, James Harden has averaged at least 7 assists a game? Did you know that this season, James Harden is averaging 11.4 assists a game? He is a great passer of the basketball. So for those who heard me talk about number 3 thinking, well, a great offensive player, but you gotta take the passing game into consideration. He's not just a great scorer. Jordan could score. Kobe could score. But it's that facilitating. Are you saying he's better than Kobe and Jordan? No. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is we have to appreciate James Harden. Because his ability to score and assist the basketball, we may never see a player like him again. We may never see a player like him again. It'll be 50 years from now when we see how many records that he has. We're like, man, that James Harden's guy's name is everywhere. He must have been really good. His name is everywhere. He can pass the basketball. He is a phenomenal passer of the basketball. The dribble notion needs to go to bed. Number one part of his game that's often overlooked. Everyone always says, in the playoffs, he is not as good. In the playoffs, he is not clutch. In the playoffs, he just doesn't get it done. And that's a very lazy take. It's a very lazy take, and I'll tell you why. In James Harden's career as a Houston Rocket, he has lost one series, that he was not supposed to lose. Just one, where his team came in as the favorite to win the series, and they lost the series. And that was 2014 against Damian Lillard, and it was Dame time. It is what it is. It was Dame time in Game 6. It was Dame time, and Dame hit a great 3-point shot to end that series to put it to bed. Other than that series, James Harden has never lost a series where his team was supposed to win. Did not do it. Anytime his team came in favored to win a series, his team won. Every single time. Except the one exception, the Portland Trail Blazers. And that's the one exception in his resume. And everybody has an exception like that in their resume. Every great player does. You have that one series where it doesn't work out. LeBron Miami against the Dallas Mavericks. I remember that. I remember that really well. The Lakers versus the Pistons. They weren't supposed to lose that series, but they did. It happens. It happens. But the great players make sure it doesn't happen more than once. Definitely not more than twice. I'll give you the teams that the Rockets lost to while James Harden was in Houston. They lost to the Warriors a million times. They lost to the Warriors. Okay, you lost to the Golden State Warriors, who won how many championships? And let's not forget, they had who? Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson. Are you really going to fault a guy for losing to those guys? Really? Is that what we're going to do? So they lost to the Warriors. They were never supposed to beat the Warriors. There is no series where they played the Warriors where they're supposed to win. In fact, in 2018, when the Rockets had the 1 seed, and they played the Warriors and forced it to Game 7, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, James Harden lost his guy, his sidekick, Chris Paul, in Game 6. You know that. Well, Game 5, he lost him. You know that. I know that. Against that juggernaut? Come on, man. And let's not forget, in both Game 6 and Game 7, his team had a double-digit lead. You can say, well, it's his fault. His fault. He should have kept the lead. Or you can think, how did they even get a double-digit lead against that team? Come on now. It's all about the lens you look at things. It's all about the lens that you look at things. And the other team he lost to was the Spurs. It's probably his worst playoff moment in his career, where he went out in flames in Game 6. But remember, were they even supposed to win that series? They weren't. They weren't supposed to win the series. Not at all. They weren't supposed to win, man. They were not supposed to win. So here's my take. James Harden is underrated. He is. And now that he's in the East Coast bias is real, he's starting to get some of the love that he should have been getting his entire career. What I don't want to happen to you is James Harden retires and you realize how great he was. Let's appreciate him now while he is still playing. And let's hope that he is never underrated again. Thank you so much for listening to this takedown. I really do appreciate it. For all of our loyal listeners, thank you so much. Hit that subscribe button. Smash that like button. Hit the notification bell. I want to get that YouTube algorithm right so that we keep having our videos and we keep doing this because we do this for you. We do it for you. You can check us out on our podcast on nuchannelsports.net, not .com, .net, and that's Nuchannel spelled nuchannelsports.net. You can check out our podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts, Apple, Stitcher, Podbeam, wherever you listen to your podcasts, we are there. We have over 100 episodes on our podcast, and we are posting weekly, at least 2 podcasts a week, if not more. We have content here on YouTube, takedowns, we talk, where we gather together and talk about segments of sports. We are just releasing content, new sports content daily. You can also check out my articles. Those are on the website. We also post those on Facebook. You can read those. We're doing it all, man. We're doing it all, but we need your support. We really need your support. So anything you can do to help, even dropping a comment, interacting with us, we will always hit you back up. And if you want to see our beautiful faces, you can always see our beautiful faces on Afro Vibes TV. You can check out Afro Vibes TV on your Roku app, or you can download the app on your Android or your smartphone. That is Afro Vibes TV app. And you can see our beautiful faces. We record a show once a week, and you can catch our show on demand. Thank you so much for listening. You know how I always end it. Stay safe, y'all. Please stay safe. Peace.